welcome back. So if you watched my last vlog, at the end, I basically spoke about the fact that I was gonna do the butterfly haircut thing, the basically TikTok Brad Mondo trend. Pretty much, this is what it's gonna look like. You basically put some hair to the front in a ponytail, and you do the same to the back, and cut both of them. Sounds pretty easy. And so far, so good, I have to say. It's meant to give quite like a layered look, but really annoyingly, I didn't break it, but I put Elliot's hairdryer that we brought with us, he's got quite a good hairdryer, put it in one of the plug sockets and it just like sparked here. So I have a feeling that's not working anymore. Now our apartment does have a really small little hairdryer, but it's not particularly good for, well, I highly doubt you can like properly blow dry hair with it. The other thing that's a bit of a pain, when we went to Switzerland, on our way back from Switzerland, somehow in my case, my Dyson Airwrap broke, like not the whole device, but something small broke off it. And it means I can't put any attachments on the end. I basically need to go into the Dyson shop and figure out what's happened, because I'm sure it's probably pretty easy to fix. But I didn't have time to do it before we came here. So yeah, basically I am a little bit stuck as to styling my hair. What I'm basically gonna do is just give it like a little rough dry and use my curling wand on it and just see how it looks, because you can't really get a proper feel for it here. This though is the amount that I cut off. So it's actually like a fair amount, I would say. What's that, like an inch? That's actually not the longest bit either. There are some bits that are a bit longer than that. So yeah, what I can say is that it was very dry and very uneven. So also I just tried to record me putting these products in my hair and then I realized I wasn't filming, but I've been using these two products for like quite a while now. And I do think they make a big difference in my hair. It's the Pureology 21 Essentials Colour Fanatic. And then I also use this Kevin Murphy one, which is more like conditioning in just at the ends, because my ends were really dry. But I mean, they were mainly dry just because I really needed a haircut. But it overall, I think, does make a really big difference. So those are all my dead ends that have come off my hair. Just literally feels like straw, which is delightful. All right, it's the evening. I've not done my hair and I had every intention of doing it, but we just left it and we're gonna do it tomorrow instead. But we just went to the shop to try and get something for dinner, and the only thing we could see that we just really wanted was, you know, like instant ramen noodles. For some very strange reason, we just got a load of packets of those basically. And I thought I'd spice them up a bit. Well, we actually got loads of packets of those, some snacks and some tofu, weirdly. So I just made a pan full of this tofu, which is really nice because I've just been eating chunks of it. And this is what we've come out with in these enormous bowls, because they don't have any other bowls here that aren't like really shallow. So we've just got instant ramen, which is not particularly healthy, but tried to spice it up with some tofu and sweet corn and spring onions. I'm sure this is gonna be such a delicious dinner. And obviously just gonna top it with some sriracha, because I put sriracha on everything. Right, so I've finally done my hair, and I feel like I wish I could just blow dry it and give you like the full effect of the layers. But with it kind of curled, it looks good. I mean, I can't wait for the curls to drop a bit, because I don't actually like when it's like quite as curled as it is. But it just sort of gives it a lot of volume, and it definitely feels healthier. I mean, I'm in desperate need of a hair mask at the moment. Like I really need like an Olaplex or something. Just because my ends are super dry, even though I've trimmed them all off. But I think it's just my hair and dye is just not the best combination. But yeah, you can see how short some of the layers are, and it kind of works. Right guys, so we're overdue a little bit of a catch up, because I feel like I've really not kept you in the loop with our last week, which has been a little bit strange. But we basically ended up having to fly back to the UK for a couple of reasons. One of which was my dad's 60th birthday, which was just so fun. We had a load of family there, and it was just very much worth going back for it. I mean, we'd always planned to go back for it. It was really strange when we got off the metro last night. in the centre of Amsterdam, it really felt like we were back home, which is such a strange thing to say, but I feel like it makes me realise just how quickly we settled in and how much we love this apartment. I feel like having somewhere where you feel comfortable and like you've got enough space and everything just makes such a big difference. But yeah, we are back and we are very, very happy about it. Also, a little update on the hair thing. I felt over the weekend like I hadn't cut enough off my hair. Apart from that, the whole hairstyle works really well. And obviously I've got a little bit up today, so it looks even more extreme. But the layers actually worked really well. However, I actually got my sister to take some more off my ends when we were back home. I just felt like I needed a little bit of extra length off, and she's pretty good at cutting hair. Another exciting thing that happened at home was we actually got the second set of neck samples for the next Whiffy candles, which is just, oh, I am so excited about it, honestly. We're actually just finalising everything at the moment, and it was really nice this weekend because we saw quite a lot of people to get different people's opinions on the scents and things. I've really tried to take as much kind of inspiration from what you guys have said over on Instagram. I actually did one of those like Q&A question box things on the Whiffy Instagram. Go and follow us, by the way, on Instagram and TikTok if you don't already. But yeah, I did one of those question box things, and I've really tried to take in the scents that you guys all wanted. To be honest, I really hadn't expected such a wide variety of answers. I think I'd asked for like your favorite type of scents, and there was just everything from like citrus to sweet to spice to fresh and beachy. So what I'm trying to do is select a range of scents for a next collection. Anyway, I am actually going to show you the little samples because I feel like it's quite nice to give you an insight into the process that we go through. Right, so as promised over on Instagram, I'm gonna do a little Q&A on moving abroad, moving to Amsterdam. Understandably, since we've moved, I've had a lot of questions from people wanting to do the same. So I thought I'd put up a little question box on Instagram, and I'm gonna pick some questions. To be honest, a lot of them are same or similar. There are a lot of duplicates in here. First one, how come you picked Amsterdam? Great question. Well, we'd both been a few times each. I think I'd been 3 times before and Elliot had been twice before. It's really, really close to the UK. Not that that's necessarily why we picked it as a country, but it definitely is one of the benefits for us. As I said, we had to go back this week. The flight is so short. From London, the flight's like 45 minutes. Between us, Elliot has his clothing brand and we both have Whiffy, and we do frequently get samples back and forth. So it is quite nice to have somewhere that's quite quick. So if we need to ship something from the UK, we can quite quickly. I wouldn't say that's necessarily why we moved. The main reason we moved is because we absolutely love it. As I mentioned before, one of my closest friends, Emily, has lived here for quite a few years now, and it's very different seeing a city through the eyes of a resident than it is seeing it as a tourist. And I remember coming back both those times and saying to Elliot, I just absolutely love it, and I would really consider living here if we ever did have the opportunity to. We definitely both got really great vibes off it when we'd visited before. The other thing that's really great about the Netherlands, and I would probably say the same for countries like Switzerland and also like the Scandinavian countries, I'm sure there are a lot more that I've missed out. The lifestyle is very similar to the UK and it's very easy to adapt. So we sort of knew it was going to be quite easy to settle in. It's not this, obviously culturally it is different in some ways, but to be honest, in lots of ways, it's also really, really similar. There are lots of things you notice, like the supermarkets provide lots of the same foods. The transport system is quite similar. I mean, probably a lot better than the UK. One of the great things for me and Elliot is neither of us like properly speak another language. I mean, I know a little bit of German and French. And in the Netherlands, I mean, I can only really speak for Amsterdam specifically. They speak such good English that it's just so easy to get around pretty much. Well, I actually haven't had an experience here yet. Well, I feel like they've actually got like an English radar that they just speak to you in English when you walk in a shop. And I'm like, how do you even know that I'm English? Next question is, what made you decide to move? Well, moving abroad or just doing a bit of traveling is something that we have spoken about basically since we got together. It's always been something that's super, super important to me. I have grown up traveling a lot. A lot of my family live in different countries around the world. It's kind of been something I feel like that's just been built into me, and I have always felt like I've wanted to spend a longer extended period of time in another country. I think especially because Elliot and I are both self-employed, we are so lucky to have the freedom that we have from our careers, but it just felt like now was a really good time to do it. I'm going to tactically pick the next question because I feel like a lot of the questions kind of follow on from this, so I'll just address this first. How easy is it to move to Amsterdam now Brexit has happened? Well, this has been a little bit of an eye-opening situation. One of the big things in my eyes that has been such pain about Brexit is that you can't just go and live in another EU country now, which is very, very annoying if you are in the same situation as Elliot and I, and that's something that you really want to go and do. The majority of the countries in Europe, not just the European Union countries, but lots of others are in on this. They're basically part of this thing called the Schengen Agreement. I think I'm right in saying that if you are from one of those countries, you can go and live in any of the other countries. So sadly, the UK is not part of this agreement, which is a real shame for us. It means that you can only stay in one of those countries for 90 days at a time. Obviously, Netherlands is one of these countries. You then have to remove yourself from the country for 90 days. The general rule of thumb is you can spend 90 days within 180 days. And I think that can be broken up, but we are doing it all at once in one of these countries part of the Schengen Agreement. So we can only legally stay in the Netherlands for 3 months, pretty much. We have really tried to figure out a way around this. Elliot's actually a quarter Dutch, so he could probably get a Dutch passport. I have literally got no European relatives at all. Such pain. So the only passport I could get is a Kenyan passport, which really doesn't help me too much unless I was planning on living in Africa, which I'm not. So I'd say yes, very easy to stay for 90 days, but you can't stay for longer. How long are you there for? Well, that's kind of the answer to that question. So we can only stay for 90 days, which is a shame. We had actually slightly misinterpreted it to start with, and I might have mentioned this in the first video, but we were thinking we could do 90 days here and then go to another country, one of these Schengen countries, afterwards for 90 days and kind of country hop, but you actually can't do that. A few people asked where to next. Well, we're not too sure. I think we will probably go back and spend a couple of weeks in the UK and then think of where we want to go to next. Our right to visit one of the Schengen European countries will renew like end of July or something. So we can actually do this again with another country or with the Netherlands again after that date. So it's not that we can't do it again in Europe this year, but it will have to be a little bit later on in the year. But we have floated the idea of maybe going to Mexico. We're initially going to be doing the US this year, like a big road trip in the US. So that's also an option. There are quite a few options, to be honest. We're just not too sure. I feel like we're kind of just seeing where this year takes us and not planning too far ahead. A few people have asked, have you sold your home and did you rent your house out? So no, we have not sold our house. We still absolutely love our house. I think I had said probably in the Q&A from that Elliot and I did together when we just bought our house. Buying our house came at a really strange time for us. We had absolutely no intentions of buying a house when we bought a house. I feel like this story is quite ridiculous, but we basically got a bit carried away on Rightmove one evening because we often just look on Rightmove for fun. And we found our house in an area that was very close to where some of our friends live. And we basically saw it and thought this is our perfect home. Ended up putting in an offer and we got it, which is super lucky. But actually the whole of last year we were going to be away traveling. We'd already given notice on our flat in London that we were going to be going away a bit earlier, and that was literally the plan for the whole year. So we've kind of flipped it the other way around because we would have wanted to buy a house when we were back from traveling. We've done it the other way around. So as you can probably tell, traveling's always been sort of part of what we wanted to do. Our house is just our baby. We absolutely love it. We feel so at home there. You guys know, like, we've spent a lot of time and effort this year making it a really special home to us. So no, we absolutely haven't sold it. But did you rent your house out? Yes, we kind of have. So we have got people that we know living in the house at the moment, and when they move out, I'm sure we will be getting other people to live in the house. So we are luckily earning some money on our house whilst we're away, because obviously we've got a mortgage to pay, and well, yeah, it would be pretty expensive to just have it sort of sat there. So yes, we are renting our house out, which so far has been working really well. Was it tough to move? I want to move abroad too. Not for us personally, but possibly one of the big differences is that, like I said, we are both self-employed. So our job situation didn't come into play. I believe that if you want to come and work here, you need to get a visa through the company that you're going to be coming to work for. I know that's how my friend's done it. She's on like a work visa basically. So for us, no, not at all. We just packed up and moved. We'd only actually booked this apartment a couple of weeks before we came. So apart from the barrier of actually finding somewhere to live, it really wasn't hard. We also hopped on the Eurostar, and if you didn't know, on the Eurostar from King's Cross and Pancras, you can actually take 2 large suitcases each, just as like standard. So it ended up being a little bit cheaper than it would have been to fly, and the Eurostar is just very relaxed. A few about, were you nervous to move abroad? No, to be honest, not at all. But I was speaking to my dad about this over the weekend, and we counted that I have moved house 22 times, which is obviously just a bit ridiculous anyway. And one of the things about that is yes, I get itchy feet, and I feel like I struggle to accept anywhere as just being home forever. The other side of that is that I feel like I'm very used to just adapting to a new place, and I feel like I make home wherever I go, and I find it really easy to settle into places. I feel like Elliot would probably say the same, to be honest. I should have got Elliot to come in on this Q&A for bits, but he's actually out at the gym at the moment. I feel like he's found it really easy to settle here as well. Did you struggle to find a property in Amsterdam? I've heard the market is pretty busy. Oh God, yes. I mean, I say struggle, obviously we're just renting and it was a short-term rent. We've got our place through Airbnb. I would say that if you want to live in the center of Amsterdam, it's the equivalent cost-wise of renting in the center of London. It's very, very expensive. The property market is a little crazy here, as it is in London. And it did actually take us a little while. I mean, I say a little while, I mean a week, but a week of like solid searching for somewhere to actually find somewhere that was in our price range. And even this place is just lovely, but it is super expensive for the size of it. Having said that though, the public transport here is absolutely amazing. So you could easily live outside of the city and just get in about 10 minutes. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear that, but someone's just started hoovering the stairway downstairs, and I feel like it sounds pretty loud to me. So hopefully it's not too disruptive. But yeah, for us, because we're only here for a shorter period of time, we really wanted to be right in the thick of it and not feel like we need to sort of travel in. We wanted everything to be on our doorstep. And as I think I have mentioned, we are staying very, very central, more central than we actually had wanted to stay. I had an idea of the area we really wanted to live in, but to be honest, we just could not find anywhere for dates we wanted, the amount of time that we wanted, and the budget. So, pros and cons of living here. Again, I feel like it would be a good question to maybe revisit in a few weeks' time. Pros wise, I mean, it's just so easy to live here. It's a much slower pace of life than it is in London, and I would say like the south of England, which is really, really nice because you're in a city, but it's still really chilled. If you look at like the metro and the tube, like they're just not comparable, but obviously London is very, very densely populated. Pretty much every street is really beautiful. The architecture is just amazing. All the houses were built such a long time ago. And because they're effectively, everything is like a terrace. Every house is like a terrace house, so they're all attached together. So to actually knock something down, build something new would, I mean, I think it would pretty much be near enough impossible. Whereas London, I feel like in the UK, you've got a lot of beautiful architecture mixed in with like crazy glass modern designs, which is probably like not what I find particularly attractive. I mean, they're cool buildings. The difference in Amsterdam is that everything feels very traditional. Like the architecture is very traditional. Also, I'm sure you've seen the pictures of the bridges where everyone puts their bikes over the canals. Well, the canals are everywhere, which means that you can only really go like 2 minutes without seeing water in the center of Amsterdam, which is really cool. There are so many pros. The only con for me is that because I have got this knee situation going on, because like I said, a lot of the buildings are really old. Most of them don't have lifts in. It's something that I'm finding really difficult myself. Our apartment is up 5 flights of stairs, and that is a really big struggle for me. And last question I'm gonna answer today is, what's one thing that moving abroad has taught you already? I love that question, and I wish I had a really great, profound answer for it. But I would say it has taught me that, I've just had to pause and think about this. I would probably say, as cheesy as this sounds, it's kind of taught me to follow my like instincts and dreams a little bit more. This is something that I've wanted to do for ages, and I think the reality of actually how simple it's been, it's really opened up probably for me and Elliot, our mindset, and just to kind of action ticking off more of the things that I want to do before I guess I properly settle down and think about having a baby, which I know I'm going to want to do in the future. I've just got so many countries that I want to travel to and explore, and things that I want to do, and I feel like 2023 is my year, well, both Elliot and I's year, because we're going to be doing it together, of just starting to do some of these things. I'm actually going to end this video here because I'm aware that I don't know how long this is going to be when I cut it down, but I think I've been talking for like 40 minutes. So yeah, I'm going to sign this off. I am desperate to talk through more like whiffy candle samples, like what we've got coming stuff with you, but I think I'm going to do it in the next video just so this one doesn't get crazy long. But thanks so much for watching. As always, I would love it if you subscribed, if you do want to stick around and see more videos. Obviously, if you've got any other questions, just let me know, because I can answer them in the next couple of vlogs or whatever. And yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Bye.